Now, some minority MPs are pushing to have the annual post-budget workshop to be held in Parliament House in Accra. MPs are annually taking out of Accra for a residential workshop on the budget presented before debate and consideration. Parliament has been informed this year's post-budget workshop will be held from Friday 17th November to Sunday 19th November at the Rock City Hotel, Kwahu, Nkwetia.
The Speaker, the all-important economic policy of government is scheduled for Wednesday, the 15th of November 2023, and the Minister of Finance will come to this House fortified by Article 179 of the Constitution to meet that constitutional obligation to the people of Ghana. Soon thereafter, Mr. Speaker, we will be in your hands, and again, to enable members make input, enrich their debates, we have programmed Friday 17th of November to Sunday the 19th of November for our post-budget workshop. This time, we are moving to the east of the country. Specifically, we'll be at Kwahu Nkwetia in the eastern region, and members will be housed or will be accommodated at the Rock City Hotel, a Ghanaian facility. Mr. Speaker, it's not a foreign owned. Yeah. Domestic tourism. Yeah. We were in Ho the last time. A Ghanaian owned facility. So, Mr. Speaker, we'll be at the Rock City.
But speaking on the floor, NDC MP for Boem, Kofi Adams, cited the recent economic hardship and called on leadership of the House to reconsider and hold the workshop in Parliament to save money.
But I want to appeal to leadership, if it's possible, considering the government's plan to reduce expenditure and looking at the time that we have at our disposal to travel this far and be returning to commence sitting again on Monday, the 20th. If leadership can consider so, we have this post-budget workshop right here in the chamber. That could save us some money at this very critical time and use that for other purposes. It will help us so much, and we could demonstrate that Parliament is leading in tightening of the belt. At this time, we need to demonstrate that we are willing and prepared to sacrifice and cut some areas that we can cut. We have a very good environment here, especially when they have scheduled that we will commence the debate on Monday, the 20th, and Friday, the 17th, we are equally going to be sitting. Mr. Speaker, the business committee should rethink and consider that the savings that we will be making by organizing the workshop here would help to support many things. Yesterday we were talking about renal unit here. We have talked about the disaster that happened in Upper Volta and Lower Volta, and we are seeking to get some water to even support. We can use part of this to get water to support the flood victims. I think the leadership should, I'm trying to persuade leadership.
But the Deputy Majority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, took on what he deemed an opportunistic comment.
Last year, we were in Ho for the post-budget workshop, and all honorable members were there. The decision was by the business committee, made up of 10 from each side. The business committee is not only made up of leadership, it's made up of other members. So this is the decision of the committee. It is not about leaders being insensitive. I would want to encourage members to be mindful of their choice of words and the approach they take on some of these matters. It's very important. Otherwise, then we should say that we should not take salaries at all as members of parliament, and we use all of that for community service. Such approach is not appropriate. We do so to mislead the public, and we, for the political class, become victims of unfair perceptions about the work we do as parliamentarians. So I will encourage members to be mindful of the fallout of unintended comments in this floor.
I've been joined in the studio by our data analyst, Isaac Kofi Adams, for more on this. Now, Kofi, we know that the venue for the meeting is the Rock City, and you've been doing some calculations on how much exactly this is likely to cost the country. Tell us more.
So, in fact, we are doing this so that you watching us at home will appreciate the issue that we're actually talking about. So, just like you said, Rock City in the eastern region is where the post-budget workshop will be held. So, we decided to check, their rates online. And we realized that if you are doing what they call the junior standard single for all 275 MPs, we know that per night is around 775 Ghana cedis. So 775 Ghana cedis per night for all 275 MPs is going to cost the state 13,125,000 Ghana cedis. If we compute for the 3 nights that they will be spending there, we are looking at more than 639,000 Ghana cedis. That is, if they go for the junior standard, single at Rock City Hotel.
And is this the cheapest?
This is actually the cheapest. The junior standard is actually the cheapest. So if we decide to go a notch higher and say, okay, they are MP, so what if they decide to do the standard? Okay. Which is around 1,000 and 20 Ghana cedis per night. All 275 MPs, one night, the state must cough up over 280,000 Ghana cedis. Okay. 3 nights, we are looking at over 841,000 Ghana cedis for 3 nights. That is for the MPs, close to, the figure you see there. So let's look at the last one. Okay. So we've been engaging, MPs, and we see that this is actually not just the total cost involved, Kojo, because we are talking about 275 MPs. We've not included the speaker. We've not included the staff, driver, security, feeding, per diem, conference room.
How much that will cost.
Exactly, and other facilities that they will be using, how much it will cost. And so then we engage our sources, and we appreciate that if you take into consideration all other factors, then it means that we will need at least 2 million cedis to actually do this post-budget, conference in Kwewu. Okay. Then we did the last one from our sources, and from our sources, if we use what our sources are telling us, that's the 170,000 Ghana cedis a night. Then it means we are looking at 1.4 million cedis. That is for the 3 nights that the 275 MPs will be spending there. That is what our sources telling us, that per night will cost one MP 1,700 cedis, and if you do the math, that's 1.4 million Ghana cedis. But we know there are pressing issues that possibly this money can actually solve. Okay. So what do we know? We know the Sky Group, the First Sky Group, what they are doing to support the Kolebu Reynal unit. They provide $1 million every quarter to support them. $1 million is less than 1 million cedis. Sorry, I like to. 1 million cedis is super less than the 2 million, the at least 2 million cities that we're actually computing. And we also know that the Kolebu renal units, they are owing just 4 million Ghana cedis.
So the 2 million could have the debt.
It could have the debt that Kolebu is actually owing. Then you look at the Ministry of Finance, their support to the water floods victims. They gave them 2 million cedis. That is equivalent to the at least situation that we are looking at.
Okay.
Then the cost of 1 kilometer asphalted road in Ghana is 1.5 million cedis. So if we decide to forgo this and say, let's do road for one community, we can actually, asphalt the proper road. We can do that for a community. And if we decide to go lower, I'm sure that that at least 2 million cedis can do a lot.
So it means
of the road.
if they decide to do this post-budget conference in Parliament,
in Parliament,
we can save 2 million at least.
Exactly.
Estimated.
They will bear a certain cost, but it will not be up to the at least 2 million cedis that we are actually looking at, because you have to take out certain things. I'm not sure.
And the remainder of the savings can be given to the renal unit, for example.
Absolutely.
Or the the victims of the
So that's what the figures are telling us. The computation we've done so far. This is just an estimate.
Interesting.
That if you look at the assumptions, what is going to pan out when they decide to go.
But if they decide to sleep in a room that costs 4,000, then that's over the budget then. Okay. Now, so that's the analysis by Kofi Adams, then what we've been able to compute in-house. Joining us for more on this is Kofi Adams. He is MP for Boeman. He, made that point in Parliament that, of course, they have to take a real look at that. But he joins us now on this. Thank you for joining us, sir. Now, let me ask you, what type of room do you usually go for? If, for example, this should come on, what type of room do you estimate that you'll probably be provided as an MP? Okay, so we'll try and get him, but we lost Minister Kofi Adams there. But if you look at this, Sky Group is a private company, right?
Private company.
And they are supporting the renal unit of Kolebu on a quarterly basis with 1 million cedis. This meeting, if it comes on, our estimate shows that we are likely to spend at least because it can be more than that. It
can be more.
2 million cedis, which can take care of the 2 quarters of what Sky Group. Yes.
And in fact, we know that the renal units got shut down for almost more than 5 months.
Yeah, and 19 people died. So it means that 2 million can support Sky Group's 1 million.
Exactly.
And it could go further to provide more.
And we know that their money this time around didn't come in on time. That is why we've seen the OPD or not being open to patients. And we've seen a number of people die, 19, very significant. So we are talking about people with very precious lives. And if government is able to go in there and support, I'm sure that we will save, patients who have kidney disease, some of this headache.
All right. I guess if the parliamentarians see this, they may probably say that and agree to proposals that let's do this in the Parliament House in Accra. Well, moving on to other stories. The minority in Parliament say that President Akufo-Addo is taking advantage of the Constitution to pad the Supreme Court. The President has nominated 3 new persons to the Apex Court. The Constitution does not impose a ceiling on the number of judges on the Supreme Court, a situation the NDC believes the President is taking advantage of. There is more in the following report.
Another showdown now expected in Parliament as both sides in the House prepare to lock horns of appointments to the Supreme Court.
Subject to the satisfactory conclusion of the processes set out in Article 1442 of the Constitution, the following persons. 1. Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, Justice of Appeal. 2. Justice Yao Asaridako, Justice of Appeal. And 3. Justice Richard J. Frimpong, Justice of Appeal.
Already, the minority are reiterating their claims the Supreme Court and other courts are being packed.
I find it difficult to accept that the president will say that vacancies will be created because 3 other Supreme Court judges are retired. We have 12 sitting Supreme Court judges who can actively serve the court. The court, the full panel of the court is 9. So there's no vacancy at the court. Let the record reflect that I am saying that there's no vacancy at the Supreme Court to be filled. The president is simply pardoning the court with more numbers.
The majority leadership disagrees strongly.
He is a lawyer. He should tell us the legal basis for that statement. That is a sweeping statement. It's not tenable. It's not based in law. So she should know better. I'm surprised my good friend Dafemeko will make such a strange statement. Packing the court. What that's supposed to mean?
If these 3 new go through, Akufo-Addo would have 18.
Is the president on all fours in terms of the law?
Yes.
Yeah, so what's the problem?
He believes he's taking advantage of the constitutional lacuna.
This is a civil, we are practicing a civil, democracy. And we are in a democracy. So if you think that the president has abused any of the laws, he knows what to do. But I commend the president for having having determined that, okay, there's a problem, there's a space. And then he filled the space. What's he saying? You should wait for the people to exit before they appoint. This is most unfair. I think the president is on all fours right in terms of the law. And so the firm, of course, should know better. And he should be guarded. We are speaking about law. I have a legal background. I'm not a lawyer, but I have a legal background. I don't expect people like him to speak like that. He should give it to their full soldiers to be making these accusations.
There are currently 12 judges on the Supreme Court. 10 of them were appointed by President Akufo-Addo. He has appointed 5 others who have gone on retirement, making it 15. If these 3 new judges he has appointed go through and have their confirmation, he would have had a historic 18 number on the highest court of the land. The minority are worried that the president is taking advantage of the constitutional lacuna that has not placed a ceiling on the highest court of the land to appoint more and more judges. In the coming days, we expect a frantic battle at the Appointments Committee. We wish to see if they will oppose publicly these 3 new nominees who are all currently justices of the Court of Appeal, or they will allow them go through. Reporter for JoyNews, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
So let's return to our earlier story on the post-budget analysis conference, which has become a debate in Parliament. Mr. Kofi Adams is MP for Buem, and he joins us on phone now. Grateful for joining us here. Now, I first of all wanted to find out from you, if there should be a conference like that, normally, what type of room are you given?
Thank you, and good evening to your listeners. Basically, we're given a standard room, and so that's basically what the MPs use. And you mostly will go for virtually every room available. And considering our numbers and considering the number of rooms we have in Rock City, assuming that is where we have to go, what it means is that you may have to take both the senior and standard rooms, and even sometimes rooms above standard, because you virtually have to go for everything that is available, considering the number of persons you will be deploying them.
And usually, how much per night for such rooms are you looking at?
Well, it ranges. Sometimes between 1,000 and to about sometimes 2,200 and even sometimes above. The number that would occupy the very high ones sometimes are few, because the hotels itself may not have too many of such rooms. But of course, you have leadership. Leadership surely will go for the higher ones, and generally all the rest will pick up standard rooms if they are available.
Confirm this for me. We are told that your drivers, as well as staff of the Parliament, Ministry of Finance, all are part of this conference.
Sure, you don't do without them. The MPs are entitled to drivers. They are entitled to bodyguards who they have to travel with to such an occasion. So for every MP, you are talking about 2 other persons whose accommodation possibly will have to be taken care of in the form of some allowance, which will be given to the driver and the guard. Then you're talking about parliamentary staff itself, those who will come, the senior ones, the audiovisual unit, the security that will come along with such other persons. Of course, Parliament cannot convene without Mr. Speaker being present, so we will have to be bringing along Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker would have to come with his security, then Ministry of Finance itself and his staff. then the resource persons who will come along. So you are dealing with a huge number here, not a small number that we are talking about.
That means that it will go beyond the 2 million that we are estimating. Wow. Anyway, but you seem to be a lone ranger on this issue. Why is that the case?
I don't think I'm a lone ranger. There are quite a number of persons who feel same, especially considering the situation we find ourselves now. Yes, in the past, we've had it outside of Accra. All manner of reasons have been given. I remember when I joined Parliament, there had been proposals that we should do it in Parliament. Some said we could be distracted and what have you. But after last year's engagement, we now are faced with a different situation after the 2023 budget was presented. We now have a domestic debt exchange program where persons who have made their money and decided in a way to buy bonds that government itself offered are denied their monies currently as we speak. We have all kinds of situations we find ourselves. And so I was of the opinion that Parliament can also contribute and lead the way. And indeed, Parliament itself needs many other things to be done for us in Parliament to function and function much more effectively. So if it's possible to make some savings here, we could actually even use it as an institution or an arm of government to support many other areas that we need some other intervention. I am not alone in this. There are many who agree with me. Again, we have the same business committee scheduled us to have business on the 17th, which is Friday. Then after the business, you are expected to move to,
Rock City,
for the post-budget workshop. And they have scheduled business again on the 20th of November, meaning that Monday we are starting debate. How is it possible for you to be in the best of mood, traveling all the way there and traveling back just on Sunday in time to commence debate on Monday? So looking at the time constraint, if we stay in Accra and utilize our chamber, we will make some savings. We would equally also save some time, and people could return to Parliament on Monday much more healthier, much more stronger than it would have happened if we have to travel all the way out of Accra and be returning. The argument of being disrupted, I don't buy it. Yes, because we go there for our business every day, from Tuesdays to Fridays. So I really will not buy it on this occasion.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Moving on to other stories. A coalition of concerned Zongo chiefs and youth in the Asawase constituency of the Ashanti region has accused Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia of falling short of delivering on his promises made to Zongo communities. Citing instances of unattended social mishaps within their communities, the aggrieved constituents expressed their disappointment, questioning the interest of Dr. Bawumia to Zongo development. The concerned Zongo chiefs and youth of Asawase say future elections will be based on a vision of positive change from presidential aspirant and not what they describe as empty rhetoric. Clinton Yeboah has more in the following report.
Ghana's political terrain is taking major historical turns. For the first time in the nation's history, the presidential candidates of the two prominent political parties hail from the regions of the north. However, a common trend among political candidates is the political promises that never see the light of the day. President of the concerned youth of Asawase, Umar Harris, is calling out the Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia for failing to address critical economic reforms and social justices in many deprived Zongo communities.
When he speaks, he lies. The second is when he makes a promise, he don't keep his promise, he breaks his promise. These are the sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And today in Ghana, in the political landscape of Ghana, anytime our own brother, His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's name is mentioned, then everybody is attributing lies to his name, and it has become synonymous of his name. They promised our northern sisters and brothers who migrate from the north to come and work here, the Kaya precisely called, that he was going to build a housing for them so that they will stop sleeping outside. Today, 7 years in government, the question we are asking His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is, has that promise been fulfilled? Again, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia promised the Muslim community that he was going to build 16 model senior high schools for the Zongo community. His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in an interview, mentioned that he was going to build the priorities of the Zongo communities were toilets and astroturf. When asked as to whether that was the priorities, that That is not exactly what the Muslim community wants. We want scholarship for our youth to be able to add values to their life. We want jobs. There are so many things that the Zongo community need beyond ordinary toilets.
Umar Harris indicates competence will be a major lookout for the electorates. He's advising the Zongo communities to avoid falling prey to the propaganda by some politicians to advance their political agenda.
We would not disown our own brother, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but the records are very clear. Now, what we are saying is the Muslim and the Zongo community is looking forward for nothing but leadership that is not limited to mere rhetorics, but action. We want a leader who places results as our disposal and not a leader who just make promises and don't keep. What we are saying is election 2024 is approaching. And then it is not going to be based on religion or tribe. What we need, what the people of Ghana and especially Muslims want is competence. Because the Muslim will not have a Muslim representative who would become a disadvantage to the Muslim community. Because it is even against the Islamic principle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our call, and we are urging every Muslim to prioritize competence, action-prone leadership, result-oriented leadership over and above the religious sentiment just for someone's parochial interest. Thank you.
Reporting for JoyNews, Clinton Yeboah.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime, and still to come here. A family in the eastern regions of Afram Plains is having nightmares about a missing relative who fell into the Afram River when the canoe she was traveling in overturned. We'll have details after the break. Welcome back from the break. Now, 9 communities along the Zongo River in the South Tongue district of the Volta region with over 8,000 residents face a significant health crisis due to weeks of lack of potable water. The Zongo River, the sole water source for residents and Ghana Water Company's main intake, is severely polluted from the Akosombo Dam spillage, rendering it unusable even for toilet flushing. Carlos Coloni visited the community and has filed this report.
About 9 communities here in the Agave area in the South Tongue district depend on this very lake that you see. But according to them, due to the spillage of the Akosombo Dam, the water has become very turbid.
The Zongo River has been the sole source of water for over 8,000 residents in 9 communities within the Agave traditional area in the South Tongue district of the Volta region for centuries. The Ghana Water Company's Keseve headwork also depends on this water body to supply many towns in the Greater Accra region. However, heavy pollution caused by the Akosombo Dam spillage has left residents without alternatives for weeks.
First of all, is the water that we use, but now we are not using it because the water has spoiled. Even they say that we should not use it to wash spreads. Even to wash our clothes, we are not using it because we don't have water. So what we need is the government to help us to get the water for us. Maybe even our kids, they don't have water to drink. The one that they use to wash their clothes, don't get some. So we are just begging the government to come help us because the pipe is not coming. So we use pure water. And sometimes you don't have anyone at all to wash it.
So what do you think the government can do to solve this problem for you residents?
Okay, we need help. We need poly tank or pure water.
There are some people who do not get money to buy pure water. They just boil this water and then put it down about 40 to 1 hour before they take drink or preparing food, which is very bad. But our kiddie, they don't know nothing. If they are testing, they just go and fetch it and drink.
From the river?
Yeah.
Nsuo na yire no yenya nsuo mfan ya aduane. Nsuo e de aduane na pure water. Pure water no nsuo ensu ye
The assembly member for the Jetokwe electoral area, Amos Akoli Afedo, emphasizes the urgent need for water storage facilities in each of the 9 communities to prevent a health disaster.
So tell us the number of communities that actually depend on this water.
We are having 9 communities. They are Puchunu, Jetokwe, Matekopwe, Tuve, Dunukopwe, Ajoikopwe, Matekopwe, and then Akitkopwe.
So all the coppers depend on this water?
Sure, yeah.
For what and what?
They have used it for bathing, drinking, washing, for so many of use.
So for some days now, what can you tell us about the state of the water?
Okay, about 3 weeks ago of the flood, you could see that the water have changed, and then even you can't even enter. If you enter self, there is a rashes attached, so you can't even enter. You can't even use to bath. You can't even use it to wash your hand. So it's a problem. It's a problem.
So which water source do these people depend on for their domestic use now?
Oh, for now, I'm supplying them pure water.
What is it that you want government to do under the circumstance? Because looking at the state of the water now, it tells you we don't know how long this is going to stay and the rashes that come with the usage of this water. So what permanent solution do you want government to do for you people?
Okay, thank you very much, my brother. What I personally need my community is we need poly tanks. Poly tanks for the 9 communities, for which I can go to the assembly or go to the fire service and then brought some this thing, let me assume the
potable water,
so that I can pour it inside for the community to use. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the demand from the assembly member for the Jetokwe electoral area. He's appealing to the authorities to, as a matter of urgency, provide these 9 communities each with a poly tank or a water storage facility where portable water can be stored in there for the residents in these communities to use, because according to them, the use of this very water you see here is so dangerous to residents, and they want this done as a matter of urgency to save lives of this resident here in the Southern district of the Volta region. Reporting from Jetokwe here in the Southern district, my name is Carlos Caloni for JoyNews.
A family in the eastern regions, Afram Plains, is having nightmares about a missing relative who fell into the Afram River when the canoe she was traveling in overturned. 5 other passengers were confirmed dead when their bodies were retrieved. Assembly member for the area is making a strong case for the provision of life jackets to help prevent future catastrophes. There is more in the following report.
An entire community wailing following Thursday's tragedy. The all-female passengers were traveling to their farms when tragedy struck on the Afram River, claiming 5 lives. The victims, according to members of the community, were breadwinners for their respective families. That may explain why the young ones couldn't hold back the tears. We are in a state of grief now because of the tragedy. Among the dead are a mother and 2 of her children. An entire family has been wiped out. One other deceased left behind 2 children. That is a painful one to take. We want to make an appeal to the central government to adopt the orphan children. Assembly member of the area, Johnson Anglicinia, is making a strong case for the provision of life jackets to help prevent future tragedies. My appeal to government is for the provision of life jackets and guards who will be responsible for giving the pass for canoes to operate on the river. As rescue workers continue to look for the missing person, the bereaved families are already planning to bury the dead and will be anxiously waiting for the life jackets to be made available.
Now, Senior Land Administrative Officer and mother of two, Rodaling Amwa Dakon, has gone missing for more than 2 years. Her husband, Dr. Wilberforce Agri of the Petroleum Department of KNUST, is on trial at the Kumasi High Court accused of kidnapping his wife. Now, the family of 32-year-old Rodaling has announced 100,000 Ghana cedis reward for information leading to the relocation of their relative. Ohiming Terrier of our security desk visited the family house where devastated relatives remain hopeful to see their missing kinsman alive.
Dear Lord, my father, my daughter Rhoda got missing in 2021, August.
A tearful and distraught mother seeks answers to finding her missing daughter, described as a breadwinner of the family. Cecilia Obeniwa Apia, the mother of missing Rodaling Amwadako, is a former headmistress of the Krobo Girls Senior High School, currently on retirement. Traumatized by the disappearance of her daughter, she looks up to a divine intervention to soothe her anguish.
It has been 2 years of sorrow, 2 years of expectation, expecting that I'll get up one day, then I'll hear that Rhoda has come. I've waited and waited and waited, and it's 2 years plus now, and to no avail. It has not been easy at all as a mother. The angels of God, I'm praying that they bring her from wherever Rhoda has been kept to me, so that it will be a Christmas bonus for me.
Police prosecutors told the Asokwa District Court in 2022 their preliminary investigations linked Dr. Wilberforce Agri of the Petroleum Department of KNUST to an altered kidnapping note. Police also accused him of using his wife's phone to distribute text messages from a spot near his KNUST campus home. But he was discharged by the court in February 2022 and subsequently rearrested to face new charges at the Kumasi High Court, where he was subsequently granted bail. Two other suspects, Justice Apia and Yao Amwatin, said to have sold and bought a phone belonging to missing Rodaling Amwadako, are also standing trial. But the family of Rodaling is courting public support to help find their kinsman.
I am appealing to Ghanaians. I'm so on my knees that whoever has heard of where Rhoda has been kept, whoever had a clue as to where Rhoda is, and whoever was involved in Rhoda's kidnap, please, you should all let me know. Help me find Rhoda.
Madam Obeniwa says the family will reward anyone who volunteers information to help locate her daughter.
Now, the evolution of tradition in Ghana has seen the eradication of many practices that society considered barbaric and having inherent features of cruelty. One of such rituals was decapitation and the use of human heads to bury a dead king or queen mothers. The following report, Latif Idrisu engaged a linguist in the Ghana state who explained why the Ghans abandoned the ritual of burying kings and queens with human heads.
So on display is the rich Ghana culture. In the past, executioners were feared. This was because decapitation was the norm in traditional Ghanaian settings and other West African cultures. For example, the kings in Dahomey claimed ownership of the heads of all their subjects. Families and clans have lost their kinsmen as a result of this practice. In order not to fall victim, self-imposed curfews were observed whenever news broke about the death of a king, a queen mother, or a royal for that matter. Several tribes have abandoned the ritual, and have resorted to the use of animals, big and small. At the funeral ground of the late Queen Mother of the Ga State, one of the executioners who would have been responsible for beheading in the Ga States was rather seen in a display of culture, slitting the throat of hen with his teeth and allowing the blood to drop into his mouth. The executioner pushed the whole head of the hen in his mouth until it became motionless.
Your car has gone out to China. Honorable Tina Na Ayele Mensah, the Deputy Minister for Health. Honorable Afole, the former Fisheries Minister.
A linguist, Clote Atto, from the Otublohum stool in Gamashi, explains to me why they no longer use human heads to bury their kings and queens.
Oh, it's their culture. So far as nowadays, when they are doing some funeral like this, we know they kill human being. We used to use the fowls to do explanation. You see, that's why.
So instead of human beings, you are putting human face to it, so you are rather using the fowl.
Yeah. That's why they cancel that tradition. Then they used to use the fowl to do the customs.
So you don't cut human heads in the Ga States to bury royals?
Yes. We use fowls and goats and sheep to do certain those tradition right.
Conservatives, people who want your tradition to be maintained, will say no, let's continue cutting human beings, let's continue cutting the heads of human beings to bury together with the bodies of the royals. Do you get that argument from certain people?
Oh, no. So far as you are a woman being, I'm a woman being, they can say it, everybody like it. To abolish those old things, you see. That's what.
Is it abolished proper in the Ga State?
Yes, it's abolished proper. We Gans, we don't use those old customs.
Indeed, times have changed. Just like the executioners, whose duties are now largely ceremonial. Latif Idris, JoyNews, Gamashi, Accra, Ghana.
And in studio, I am Samuel Kojo. Brace will take a quick break. We'll be back with Showbiz.